welcome to the floor Harray.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Orkney might not have many takeaway options, but I'll be the first to tell you they are phenomenal, as I sampled most of them during my school days. However, do kids eat them too often? We will find out my team's view as they discuss the topic. Children are eating too many takeaways for lunch. Before we start, let's head down to the local chippy and meet our team today. On my right, we have our proposer, Miss Kelsey Harvey.
Good day.
On my near left, our opposer, Mr. Campbell Ridland.
Good day.
And on my far left, our arbiter, Miss Sarah Johnston.
Good day.
Kelsey is a 26-year-old nursery teacher who spent her childhood growing up on her family farm. Kelsey is an avid sports person, representing Orkney at many sports, including but not limited to netball and volleyball. Kelsey, it's time for you to serve up the appetizer in our debate today.
Thank you, Chairperson. I feel that as a nursery teacher, I am well placed to comment on this subject. And I certainly do believe that children are eating too many takeaways for lunch. Now, I'm certainly not saying we're dishing up Happy Meals to the kids at my nursery, but it is what happens out with this environment where the problem lies. Now, home in Orkney, we are, in my opinion, lucky enough not to have any fast food chains. However, being down in Inverness this weekend, the options are endless. McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, all with meals aimed specifically at young children, and all full of families with kids queuing up to get their orders. We really have no clue what is being packed into these types of meals, which is then being fed to our children. One thing we do know is that 9 times out of 10, it is not the healthy choice. Children who are eating these takeaway options regularly often fall into the ever-increasing category of overweight or obese. They become fussy eaters as they enjoy the bland diet of chicken nuggets and chips. So when a nutritious home-cooked meal is set in front of them, they turn up their noses, push away the plate, and there is absolutely no chance they are even touching their veggies. This leads to children lacking in essential vitamins and nutrients, having an overall detrimental effect on their health. Now, so far I have focused more on young children, but this trend can certainly be seen continuing into the teenage years, especially if this habit is picked up from a young age. I'm by no means saying that a takeaway once in a while as a treat is a problem. However, it is the frequency that is becoming the issue. I see the students from the local academy walking past my nursery to head to the local bakery on a daily basis, and it is the same children the whole time, coming out with their chips, sausage rolls, burgers and nuggets, not a fruit or vegetable in sight, turning down a healthier chance of a school-cooked meal to spend money on greasy, fried food on a daily basis. Surely everyone here must agree when I say this just cannot be good for them. And so, it is for these reasons why I strongly believe that children are definitely eating too many takeaways for lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey. I think that's fair to say it was the perfect starter and far better than mushy peas. It's now time we introduce our opposer. Campbell is a 23-year-old oil and gas worker who is based on the island of Flota. He spends 2 weeks at a time shift working on the island. Like Kelsey, Campbell also grew up on his family farm. However, he did grow up an only child. So his hobbies have largely included getting his way and telling his parents what to do. Campbell, the first course is done, so it's now time for you to serve up the main dish in this debate today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the absolute contrary to Kelsey, and I believe that children are by far not eating too many takeaways these days. You can all probably tell by my physique that I like a good takeaway. And I always went to Argos, the local bakery which Kelsey mentioned, for my lunch on the regular. And she said the bland diet of chicken nuggets and chips, but I branched out and I had curry sauce with mine, so they were really good. This was then topped off with a couple of chocolate bars from the local co-op as well. As a child, eating this much fast food never seemed to bother me, as you always had time running about, playing and doing games which burnt so many calories that this fast food never had an effect on you. So I feel that there's no need to be criticising how much takeaways that children are having nowadays either. The walk from the school down to the bakery got you out in the fresh air, and it was far more sociable than sitting in the school dinner hall glued to your mobile phone. School meals are rubbish anyway. The cooks at our school, they would make mincemeat of a simple mince and tatties. And they could even burn the toasted rolls. Children should be able to have a choice in what they put in their mouths. It teaches them financial responsibility by buying the fast food too. And it tastes so good and isn't even that bad for you. I mean, whoever died from having a sausage roll from Greg's? It's iPads and computers and this antisocial behaviour that leads to the obesity amongst children anyway, not the fast food takeaways. So in conclusion, I truly believe that there's nothing wrong with the amount of takeaways which children are consuming at lunchtime. So I bid you all to get greedy at Greg's or have a mouthful of McDonald's to your absolute leisure. Thank you.
Thank you, Campbell. I was interested to hear that you think the calories you burned running around countered the takeaways you had. I will now invite Kelsey back to the stage to further her topic. Sugar, spice, but will your argument be nice, Kelsey?
Thank you, Chairperson. Campbell mentioned that he went to our local bakery on a daily basis. He also mentioned that this can teach financial responsibility. However, I'm not sure there are many 13 or 14-year-olds who are providing their own lunch money. And so the cost for the parents becomes huge. And it also becomes a pressure for children to go to these places instead of staying at school, and it is deemed not cool. Campbell also mentioned that the exercise he did helped to counteract the effects of these takeaways. However, he also mentioned the effect of screens on obesity. And when you add screens and takeaways together, this leads children to lead very unhealthy lifestyles, which can lead to a whole life of problems. And so it's for these reasons that I strongly stick with my argument that children are indeed eating far too many takeaways for lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey. You did a compelling job of furthering your argument there. It's now time we move to a period of open debate, where our speakers will further their knowledge on the chosen topic today. And I will kindly ask that my panel remain seated throughout, and I'll begin it by asking Campbell. Campbell, you mentioned your physique. Has it had a negative impact on you growing up?
I don't believe so, Aidan. I think that my physique's only gone downhill lately as I'm not getting the chance to run around the playground and play like what I did when I was at school. I think that if I was to have chicken nuggets every day now, I would see detrimental effects. But as a child, it's having no impact at all.
Thank you, Campbell. Kelsey, do you have any views on this?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, I do. As Aidan mentioned, I'm a very sporty person, and I'm afraid the likes of chicken nuggets, chips, sausage rolls just doesn't cut it for nutrition when you're competing in sports and having to have energy for a long period of time. Surely children at school also need to have this energy for extended periods and need to be fueling their bodies properly for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey. Kelsey, where do you think the happy medium here is? Is it a takeaway every 2 weeks? A takeaway every 4 weeks, perhaps?
Thank you, Chairperson. As I was growing up, we obviously didn't have many choices of takeaways, and this would be kept for special occasions only, such as a birthday or a big event where you can all get together as a family and enjoy this food, rather than it becoming the common Saturday night dinner. Thank you.
Campbell, do you feel there's a happy medium here?
I think that the happy medium's quite obvious. A Sunday night takeaway to cure that hangover after a big weekend. And I can't wait for one tomorrow.
Chairperson, I'd just like to come back to Campbell there.
Yes, Kelsey?
Campbell, I mentioned the pressure of children having to leave school to go and get their takeaways for lunch. Some just can't afford to do this. So how do you suggest that they still get to be included?
Thank you, Kelsey. Campbell, we'll just quickly come back to you there.
I think that they need to just prioritise what they're spending their money on and just maybe buy a little bit less when they do get to the takeaway and just hang out with the gang too.
Thank you, Campbell. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you to both my speakers. The takeaway is shut, so we'll head to our arbiter to sum up today's debate and decide a winner. Zara is a 19-year-old Glasgow-based journalism student. This career choice makes Zara the perfect person to pick out the points from our speaker's argument and decide a winner today. Although Zara, unlike the Daily Mail's journalists, please don't pick out the points you want to hear and twist them to suit your own agenda. Zara, it's time for dessert. Can you serve us up a winner today?
Thank you, Chairperson. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had the pleasure of listening to my team discuss whether children are eating too many takeaways. I was excited to hear this topic as I knew it would make for an interesting debate. So let's see who was served today. But before that, here's a recap on what they had to say. Our proposer, Kelsey, opened the discussion by highlighting that children absolutely eat too many takeaways, particularly in the city, where there's so many options. This also affects them as there's more population here, so affects more children. She spoke about how children are far too fussy these days, leading them to lack the nutrients that they need at a young age. She also emphasised the convenience of food places and the cost, which affects their pockets and their health. It was then over to our opposer, Campbell, to counter the argument set forward, where he discussed how children absolutely do not eat too many takeaways. He spoke about supporting local businesses, such as our one at home, Argos, and disagreed with Kelsey's point of takeaways being bland, as curry sauce exists. He discussed that children are typically more active, and so they burn it off anyways. He also said it teaches children budgeting as they have to pay for their own meals. He also expressed that the dinners at school are rubbish anyways. In Kelsey's reply, she said that Campbell's point of takeaways being teaching financial responsibility is not true, as it's typically the parents paying for it. The chairperson then opened up the conversation for debate and asked Campbell if his physique has impacted him negatively, which he replied that he was in better shape when he was younger, so no. Kelsey replied to this by saying, we have to take care of our bodies at all ages. So now, as we've reached a point of debate today, it was clear both of our speakers had clear views on the chosen topic, but there can only be one winner. And today, I believe the clearest and most compelling argument came from our proposer, Kelsey. Thank you.
The results are in, and Kelsey is our winner today, with her compelling argument stating that we do see children eating too many takeaways. She's got 99 problems, but childhood obesity certainly wasn't one. So, ladies and gentlemen, that leaves me one thing to do today, and that is to, on behalf of Kelsey, Campbell, Zara, and myself, hope you enjoy your time in Inverness and wish you a good day. Thank you.